Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge. Arsenal 2, Liverpool 2. Massive game. Did it deliver? I think it did to a certain extent. But one thing I've got to say is that Arsenal out of a title race. Now, if you watch and listen to the podcast, I said this on Friday, that I felt that if Arsenal lost this game, it would be too much to get back in the title race. So a draw is only 1 point. So why would they still be in it? I have to answer that question. The answer to that question is I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Arsenal now. 5 points off Manchester City, 4 points off Liverpool. And I just think that unless we're going to see a massive change in relation to how Man City win titles, Arsenal may well have dropped enough points already to not be able to get back into it. I know they've got Man City to come to the Emirates, and that would be 3 points, but it just feels like Arsenal this season, and who knows what's happened with Gabriel. I mean, if that's another long-term injury, I just feel with Arsenal this season, things are catching up with them. And it's a shame because I look at that game before we talk about Liverpool. Arsenal were fantastic in the first half. A lot of people wrote Arsenal off, not because they're a bad team, but because they had injuries, because Liverpool are doing really, really well. And it just felt like Liverpool had the momentum coming into this game. Arsenal started so well. They did something that many people probably forgot they can do. They've got a good coach. They've got good players. They played on the front foot. And they got the early goal. Liverpool then obviously scored, but then they went and got another goal, and they were creating chances. They were asking questions of Liverpool. They were stopping Liverpool attacking. And then in the second half, I just felt like they went defensive too soon. Now, I know losing Gabriel makes you weaker, but even before then, it felt like there was like 35, 40 minutes to go, and Arsenal were sort of inviting the pressure and relying on that defence, which isn't as strong anyway because they don't have Saliba, and then they lose Gabriel, and I felt there was an inevitability that Liverpool would eventually score, and I just think Arsenal didn't do enough in the second half. Now, you could say from a Liverpool perspective, well, that's because Slot is well known for changing things at half-time. He changed it tactically. Arsenal couldn't get forward as much as they could, and Liverpool gradually pinned them back in the game. Salah wasn't in the game in the first half, and in the second half he really, really was. So you've got to give credit to Liverpool, but I just think at home Arsenal did give up the momentum in the second half, and inevitably Liverpool got the equaliser, and then the game sort of fizzled out. I think from a Liverpool point of view, obviously you'd want to win that game, but at the start of the season, at the start of today and after today, you're going to look at it and go, yeah, we want to win, but Arsenal at the Emirates, a point isn't a bad result. And in many areas of the pitch, I think they cancelled each other out. I thought Saka was very good first half. Salah was very good second half. I thought Gravenberch was good for Liverpool. Rice was good for Arsenal. I think it was... A draw was the right result. There may have been a few contentious issues. I mean, God, don't get me talking about VAR. We'll be talking about that on the podcast tomorrow. That penalty at Manchester United has just changed the whole complexion, where you could look at the tackle on Martinelli and say, why is that not a penalty? You could look at the kick out from Van Dijk on Havertz and say, why is that not being looked at? The inconsistency in this league, you basically got to make your own mind up. I don't think that's enough to be a penalty. I don't think that's enough to be a red card. Obviously, Arsenal had that goal at the end again for a free kick. He'd blown for that already. I mean, again, you could argue it's not a foul as well. But I think in general, the draw was the right result. And I think for Liverpool, they'll be very, very happy with that. If they can keep that momentum going, they're definitely going to be in a title race. For Arsenal, it doesn't necessarily get any easier. They've got to go to Newcastle next week. It's always a difficult place to go, and they've got to win. And that's why I'm sat here saying, can you start to count Arsenal out of a title race? Of course you can't. But realistically, I relegated Ipswich and Southampton and Leicester before a ball was kicked. Of course they're not relegated yet, but I still think they'll all go down. I said Man City will win the league this year back in Easter, and I still think they will. So, of course, technically, people will say you can't rule Arsenal out of a title race. But looking at it and how the league runs out, I don't think Arsenal will be in the title race this year. And look, 5 points behind Man City. They're playing Newcastle away next week. You've got to go there and win. A point at Newcastle wouldn't necessarily be a bad result, but you've got to go there and win. And if you don't go there and win, then the gap opens up even more. So I think for Arsenal, it's really competitive. It's really competitive, and they'll look at the season and they'll go, look, Brighton, we probably would have won that without the Declan Rice thing. Man City, we probably would have won that without the Trossard thing. Last week, the Saliba had red card. We probably would have beat Bournemouth. So they've probably got another 4 or 5 points that they've had taken off them for various reasons, but they've got to go on a run now of massive wins, and I don't look at Arsenal and see that they're going to do that. So for me, I'd be very surprised if they get back in the title race, but it's not impossible. From a Liverpool point of view, it's difficult as well because it's a new manager, but they've got that experience. They've come from behind twice. That's character building. They went to Leipzig and played very well. They got the win against Chelsea. They're certainly picking up the results in the right way. And one thing that's really worth mentioning as well is you don't really want to hit your momentum and your full form until around Christmas time. And Arne Slot said that. He said, you won't see the real Liverpool under me until November, end of November, because we're still working on things now. So if they can put themselves into that position, then that's even better. I did just want to have a quick look at what Liverpool's next few fixtures are, because that Liverpool-Man City game couldn't come quick enough for me at the moment. I think they've got Brighton away. Sorry, that's Carabao Cup. They've got Brighton at home on Saturday. Then they've got Villa at home. Then they've got Southampton away. So 2 decent games at home. Then they've got Man City at home. So 3 of their next 4 games are at home. And if they were to win all of those, they'd be in a very, very strong position, considering one of them is Manchester City. So, yeah, getting very interesting for Liverpool. But, yeah, look, probably needed a winner in relation to the title. But I think that, yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? And I think I would look at that second half and say, as an Arsenal fan, did we go too defensive? As a Liverpool fan, I would say really good tactics at half-time to get us back in the game by Slot. But could Arsenal have reacted to that? You're the home team. It's the Emirates. Maybe that's where it went wrong. But I tell you what, from an Arsenal point of view, massive credit to Saka, because I don't think Arsenal get the win without Saka. I think he's that significant to them. How they started the game, how he scored that goal, it gave the Emirates and that team such an amount of belief on a week where a lot of people had written them off for numerous reasons, because of the injuries, because of the suspensions, and having Saka back and scoring, I think Arsenal really, really buzzed off that. And that's significant because, you know what, you talk about title races, a point might not be a bad result, because I think without Saka, that they might not have even got a point. So, yeah, that was important as well. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Make sure you smash the like on the video. Get your comments in below. What are you thinking about this title race? Obviously, it's too soon to rule Arsenal out, but do you really think they're going to claw back a 5-point gap on Man City? I don't think so, unless Man City are going to suddenly start losing a lot of games. Take care, everyone. Speak to you in a bit.